And that's the way it happens. But Tim Draper talks about this, that what you really have is an IS. So you get a hype cycle and a bust in that first 4 years as you get closer to the knee of the curve. And it's a false breakout. And then you get this bust, but it's from that bust where you begin the upslope of the S curve itself. So I think that 28 period will be one of consolidation, and you'll want to have dry powder, and you'll want to have tried to get liquid in 27, 28. But the really important businesses of the next 50 years will be built around that period. That's funny. I like to surf spaces. And so I'll go to a Bitcoin space and they'll be like, get out of here, you shitcoiner. You own all this other stuff. Like, dude, I own more Bitcoin than you. And that's not a brag. It's not a brag. It's just I've been lucky. We were early, and look, I'm not like the Winklevoss twins, but I have a decent amount of Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. And but you're not a maxi like us. I'm like, no, I'm not. And then I'll go to an Ethereum space and they'll be like, get out of here, you maximalist. I'm like, I own more Ethereum than you. I'll go to Solana space and they'll be like, get out of here, you. The point is, I believe in all of them. And I did have a struggle with Solana, which it's funny. We were early investors in Solana, not because we're brilliant, but because Kyle was brilliant. And we invested in Multicoin, and Multicoin invested. And we actually, it's one of the best investments I've ever had in my career. But we sold a lot of it when they had the problems around the Breakpoint party in the Netherlands. No, it was the Breakpoint party in Lisbon. Yes. Where $1 million after parties, and we're like, well, we're out. That's a bad sign. And so we sold a lot, but we didn't sell it all. And I was skeptical that you could fix that Solana could fix the problems we look at. So in 2018, when we started, I said we invest 70% in equity, 20 to 30% in tokens, and we bought basically 4 projects in 2018. We bought Bitcoin because we thought it was like a Series B. And when I say we bought, the reason I say we're different, we don't trade. We buy and we hold. And we have a 10-year life. And at the end of 10 years, we have to give the money back to investors. That's the way venture capital works. But I'm going to hold Bitcoin forever, literally. And that doesn't mean I'll hold all of it forever. I'll use some of it, but I'm going to hold it forever. Ethereum, I'll probably hold forever, at least parts of it, because I do believe, as you said, it's a building block. And we'll talk about why I think this in a second, but we bought Bitcoin because we thought it was a Series B. And a Series B means you think you can definitely make 10 times your money, maybe more. And when we were buying it, $4,000, we were pretty sure we could make 10 times our money. And sure enough, we've made 10 times our money. We bought Ethereum as a Series A, which means you think you can make 25 times your money. It doesn't mean you will, but it means you think you can. And interestingly, it's up about that. We bought some Solana, which was a seed investment. Now, a seed investment can go up 100x or go to 0. And a lot of them go to 0. And that's the nature of venture capital. It's a power law game. It's not about hits. It's about slugging percentage. It's how far you hit the ball when you actually hit it. We're definitely buying a wider swath. But the reason I hesitate a little bit with the answer is I don't know yet which wins. And what I mean by that is which mental model wins. If I think about the internet, it's easy in hindsight. At the time, it was not easy. There were 80 internet protocols. All right. And oh, shoot. Sorry, guys. Hold on.
No problem.
I hate my iPhone. Okay, sorry. Somehow I didn't silence my notifications. So where the hell was I? Oh, L1. So in the internet, there were 80 protocols. Today, there are 5. What happened to the other 75? They went to 0. But it didn't matter because you couldn't invest in them, right? You couldn't own any of them. You can't own TCP/IP. But at the base layer of the internet is TCP/IP. It's actually IP, and then TCP/IP sits on top of it. And then there's FTP to move files. There's SMTP for email, HTTP for websites, and www that ties it all together. So it's a perfect stack. In Web3, I can make a case that Bitcoin is the base layer and that every asset will eventually settle on Bitcoin. I can make that case. I'm also open to the idea that there's one, maybe it's one L0 and then a bunch of L1s and then other things. But I think it's still in development, and we don't have to know right now. But to answer your question, I think Ethereum probably has more upside
Then downsides, yeah.
in terms of multiple, right, than Bitcoin. Bitcoin, look, I think Bitcoin is digital gold. Okay, it's money. Gold has been money for 5,000 years. What is money? Money is an asset that exists in the absence of a liability. Only gold fulfills that. Everything else that we think of as money is currency. Currencies sit on top of gold. Gold is the base layer of money for all money in the world. Every central bank owns it, and they build the money, the currency on top of it using debt. And it's fiat, so it's bad because it can be devalued. And there have been 775 paper currencies in the history of the world, 3/4 of them zero. They've disappeared. The rest will eventually disappear too. So gold has survived for 5,000 years, but it's not very divisible and it's not very portable. Like if I had a bar of gold, which if I were Kyle Bass, I would reach under my desk and pull out a bar of gold because he keeps them under his desk. And I think I'm a pretty fit guy for a 60-year-old, but I couldn't break that bar of gold into 3 pieces. It's not from ships, it's from chips. It's not about naval superiority, it's about cyber superiority. It's about 5G, it's about AI. And they graduate 4.5 million STEM engineers every year in China. And they have a goal. So from 1990 to 2020, the goal in China was to become a moderately prosperous socialism economy. They call it the harmonious rise. Doesn't sound threatening at all, right? And they took 700 million people out of abject poverty into the middle class. It's the greatest feat in human history. Unbelievable. 700 million people into the middle class. Absolutely incredible. Now, the next 30 years, their stated goal is to become the world superpower. They're already a superpower, and they have a reserve currency. It's part of the SDR, but they want to be the superpower and have the reserve currency. And I think they'll achieve it.